All right, it's some 18 minutes after 8. You're still on the AM show. Our show is live on the Joynews channel on your multi-TV. Time now for us to talk Moot court competition. I know what you're thinking. What is it about? Well, the Ghana School of Law SRC, in collaboration with African Heights Foundation, they are organizing this one, but I'll leave it to the man who is involved in it to tell us more, and his name is Dennis Ama. He's the president of African Heights Foundation. When we will come back and get this discussion underway. All right, so Dennis Ama is here to talk about the Moot court competition. Dennis, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what's this Moot court? Where's the name coming from anyway?
Well, in law, if we say something is moot, then it means that it's not the reality. So
like
the Moot, yes, the Moot court competition is a simulation of what actually happens in court, but it's not live. So you create a fictional case, and then
so it's
you
like
get
a movie.
Yes, and then you get real judges to sit on the case. And usually law students make the arguments as lawyers, and it's an essential part of the training of law students as well.
So this is not new?
No, it's not new, but it's not very common in this country because it costs a little to organize it. And in this case, we've had the kind sponsorship of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa and also Diamond Capital to organize it. But in other countries, it's more common. But it's something which is starting to take off in this country. There was one organized by the Chief Justice just a few months ago. And this is something we are organizing amongst the campuses of a law school, because there are 3 campuses of a law school. So they will basically form...
which one's the Makola? There's Legon.
And then there is one at Kumasi at KNUST also. So they would form like chambers and represent 3 parties in this case. In this case, we have a mining company in a rural community which has a subsistence livelihood, and they discover minerals, their gold there. So mining begins and it pollutes their water and their environment. So they are no longer able to sustain themselves in the traditional way that they are used to. And also the mining community or the government does not provide them with any modern developmental amenities as well. So poverty remains endemic in the community, and that creates agitations. And in such agitations, the government, with the acquiescence of a security company, gets them also sometimes when they go for demonstrations, they open fire on them, people get injured. And so the case has to deal with 4 main issues. The first one is who has a right to come to the Supreme Court to bring a case. And also what kind of cases the Supreme Court can sit on. Because courts have... With regards to this scenario you've just given. Yes, because you can't just get up and go to court. There has to be a situation which would give you a right to go to court. That is your capacity to go to court. And the jurisdiction of the court is the powers of the court to hear cases. So all the courts have powers to hear specific kinds of cases. And so that is the first issue that we deal with in the case, because it involves a community NGO, the community organizing themselves into an association to bring the case. And then we also deal with the issue of illegally obtained evidence, because the company with this technology also manages, while a Shraj investigation into the human rights abuses in the community is going on, to intimidate community opinion leaders with secret recordings that they have, which is something which is also becoming very common these days. So they have secret recordings of private conversations of people and threaten to use them in criminal prosecutions against them. So you also deal with the issue of whether such evidence can properly be used in courts to prosecute you, because the Constitution in Article 18(2) prohibits interference with the privacy of people, their communication or their correspondence. So but I guess the issue is, what if that revelation can save somebody's life, or can make a big difference? The interesting thing is that we have an Evidence Act, which is an NRC decree. So it predates our Constitution. And the Evidence Act says in Article 51 that all relevant evidence is admissible.
Okay. It predates that, but the Constitution is the overall.
Exactly.
Okay.
But there hasn't been a case where the court has had a factual situation where it's had to pronounce on the constitutionality. So in a case like this, you definitely have one side arguing that the decree contravenes the Constitution and that the Constitution is supreme and therefore must override the dictates of the decree. And you would find that the SU would also say that it's consistent with the Constitution. And so that is where you would have a division. But the main issue actually has to deal with whether a mining community or in resource-rich communities, the courts can order governments to provide them with some developmental facilities.
I would expect that the mining firm would do that as part of their their corporate social responsibility. After all, they are doing business in the community.
Exactly. You expect that, but you know, corporate social responsibility is not something that, as at now, the law can order you to do.
Otherwise, here's my solution. Governments should insist that once you're operating in this area, you have to do A, B, C, D, you know, within a specific time. But even now, are we arguing or?
Yes, in some countries, there are laws which require that. We don't have that here in very detailed form to require specific devotion of resources of companies or a percentage of their profits to corporate social responsibility. So it's quite voluntary. And so you don't have that. And you try to use these things to draw the attention of the public to the gaps in the law which can help communities. Because it seems unjust that you have a community, and that is the situation of most resource-rich communities in Ghana. You see mining going on, you see drilling going on, but then the people in the particular area have nothing to show for it.
Then you see terrible roads. Just take a walk down here, the industrial area, right in front of the electricity. There's a stretch of road that even links to the main industrial area road, and it's terrible.
Yes.
We have huge companies with huge vehicles, you know, that ply the routes, and they're doing nothing about it.
And the activities definitely have an impact, a spilloff impact on the communities around them. If you are having mining, for example, even with the best environmental standards, it is likely that you are going to have still an environmental impact. And sometimes people even question the kind of environmental impact assessment which goes on. And that is something which is dealt with in this case as well.
So is it intentional that you're picking on social issues?
Definitely. Because the objectives, we have objectives for organizing the Moot Court as well. And it's part of the Law Week celebration of the Students' Representative Council. And during the Law Week, we have activities to celebrate what we do. And we also have activities where we reach out to people. So on the Tuesday, we have an outreach. So we go to communities, we make donations, we have educational programs in schools and all that. And we open the Moot Court also to the general public. And we are having it at the University of Ghana, the Business School Auditorium, which is a huge auditorium.
Okay, when is that?
It's at 4:30 on Tuesday.
4:30 next Tuesday?
Yes, 1st April.
Okay. So everything else, I mean, the scenario is not necessarily real, even though it represents what happens somewhere.
Exactly.
But the judges are real.
Yes. So
are they going to take it as, you know, serious, as though the case was real?
When they enter the court, we would have to rise and observe all court proceedings or protocol when you are in court. So it's taken seriously. And you are having 2 Supreme Court judges on the case. One retired Supreme Court judge, the Commissioner for Shraj would be on the case, and also a senior member of the Bar Association will be acting as a panel of 5 Supreme Court judges sitting on the case. So it's a serious situation when you enter into that. Into that, it becomes a courtroom.
So this is next Tuesday. You say it's 4:30.
Yes.
In Legon.
Exactly.
How can we enter and exit?
Well,
don't go there. Don't go there. But I'd like to say thank you for your time. Anything else that you want to add?
We would like to thank our sponsors once again for the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, and also Diamond Capital, who are supporting such initiatives, and also to encourage people to attend the event and to also hope that they would enjoy it and have a nice time. We will take good care of them when they come, and also make sure that they enjoy the event. You would learn a lot. And we hope that through such initiatives also you help in the development of the law, especially in areas where the country is facing challenges. Because in this country, judges can actually make law where there are gaps in the law. So we try to use these things to bring matters that we think they should consider to their attention. And one area, finally, in just a few minutes, is whether human rights provisions in the Constitution can be applied to companies, which is something which Article 12(1) of the Constitution states that it's applicable to all persons, including private persons, where applicable to them. But it doesn't explain exactly where it is applicable to them. And that is left to the interpretation of judges, because
yeah, you know, I think that you students at law should be going on your own to get interpretations for some of these things on your own. But just before you go, is there a dress code for law students or lawyers? I mean, yeah, law students.
Law students, we typically put on black and white for such events, but you can put on anything just to dress in a decent way. That's all. Okay. For an event.
Because if I was a lawyer, I'd probably be wearing some blue jeans with a black jacket. You know.
You can do that outside the
But I
courtroom.
see you guys are prim and proper.
We are required to.
Okay. Dennis, thank you for your time. I would love to be there to see this. It's an interesting thing to witness and be part of.
See you. Yeah. See you.
All right. So it's a relationship Friday. I am talking temperament next on my banner on the AM show. Stay with me.